Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley Fuller.
And I'm Dr. Meredith McClure.
And this is Labia Logic,
the podcast that's all vulva, no filter.
We're here to talk about all the stuff your doctor rushed through, the questions you've been too embarrassed to ask, and the sex ed that barely mentioned the vulva.
Because too many people are suffering in silence with painful sex, menopause misery, and vulvar issues no one talks about.
No shame, no stigma, just real talk, real answers, and the education you should have gotten in the first place.
Hello, welcome back to Labia Logic. And we have a very special guest today. We're titling this episode, Good Vibrations, a beginner-friendly guide to choosing and using vibrators. And we'll also talk about other things that one can use to help with pleasure, pain, things like that. And I'd like to introduce our guest today. And this is Liz Leister. And she has her own business here in the Dallas area, and it's called Vitality Within. And we'd like to welcome you, Liz.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I love what you are doing in women's health.
You want to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, how you got to starting this business, and kind of just even about your business.
Unique position, right? And so there's got to be some type of background. So in order to best understand that, I'll give you my background and how that lies and how it makes a connection to Vitality Within. So back in college, I was going to school to be a teacher, and I was also a college athlete. I played volleyball in college. And so it was after that I started teaching and coaching volleyball for a junior Olympic program that I kind of developed the love for mentorship and coaching and teaching and just seeing young girls gain confidence. And that was just really fun to me and really rewarding. After teaching, I moved on and transitioned into pharmaceutical sales, where I kind of learned the communication skills behind the medical and speaking with doctors and nurses, and how to communicate kind of best in that health wellness field. And after that, I was fortunate enough to spend 14 years at home raising my kids. And that is kind of where my passion really grew for fitness and nutrition and all things related to the body. And I grew a deeper understanding of how the body works and how everything is connected between your physical health, your mental health, your sexual health, and really just growing personally from all of those areas as well. And so my husband, who I've been married to for 21 years, it's not without the ups and downs in those types of relationships that you learn and grow together as well. And so we've lived this lifestyle together for so many years. And his expertise is also in exercise science and nutrition. And so in just kind of living that lifestyle and helping others around us grow and be better in those fields. And so when I was ready to return to the workforce, conversations with a good friend who was a sex therapist kind of led me to realize that there is an unmet need in women's health. And that's navigating and exploring sexual wellness tools. And so I thought, this is a world that I know something about, I'm comfortable in. I know a lot about the physical health aspect of it, that it all ties together. So I thought, this is maybe sounds right for me. So I started Vitality Within, and I've been doing that, and I'm helping women kind of grow and learn in their sexual health and improvement. And that's kind of how I landed in this area.
I love this. I think it's amazing. I think it's so helpful. So many women don't know about their own bodies. It's one of the reasons we have this podcast, but also like how to achieve pleasure, how to receive pleasure. And I think there's a lot of these tools that we're going to talk about that can help women explore their pleasure and what gives them pleasure in so many great ways. So I'm just so excited that you're here to talk to us about this, and your background is super interesting.
Ashley and I both were also former college athletes. So here we go. Look at this.
Let's start a team, guys.
Yeah. Let's do it. Sex team. Let's do it.
Yep. I love it.
Oh my God.
I love
that. Yeah. I mean, this aspect of my job is probably one of my favorite. Like really helping people to be their best selves and empower themselves to just enjoy life. And this is definitely part of it. It's part of health. So this is awesome.
I'm glad you think so. I'm glad to think there's a need for it too.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course.
definitely.
Of course.
Definitely. So tell us about the information that you kind of go over with clients.
I'm helping women navigate sexual wellness tools, and it's really just by simplifying the process, simplifying what can feel overwhelming and confusing to so many in a world that maybe they don't know anything about. We talk about the options that exist and how to use them to support your sexual health. Together, we make the connections between physical health and mental health and how that all affects your sexual well-being. And then we have conversations that can sometimes seem hard, but maybe help you recognize things that maybe in a way you didn't connect the dots before. And so it really varies from client to client as to what we're talking about for the day and what's important to them. But overall, it's to get to the goal of improving their sexual health at some point.
What do you say to the patients that feel like a vibrator or a toy feels like they're embarrassed about it, or they don't know, like they've never used one, they're not sure about it?
Yeah, that's actually quite common. If you're uncomfortable in that world, that's what you just might start out feeling, right? And it's okay to start there. You have to start somewhere. But even taking a step into your pleasure by contacting me is a great first step. It's a huge show in that I'm really brave. I need to help in this area. Who can do this for me? And so it's just really a big step of you're acknowledging, I want to get better in this area. And so it just takes practice. You need to start somewhere. And so if you're willing to start somewhere, we can work with that and go from there. And I'll meet you wherever you're at. And so it's just really being open to seeing what happens.
I love that point. People even coming to see Ashley and me and saying, there's something going on and I want to make it better. And then they come see us and it's like, oh, but wait, there's more. There's a lot more out there beyond just even us. And it involves that. I mean, we say every day, well, it's a team sport because it is. And you are the team. And this is an aspect that can be pretty intimidating for some people. So how do you approach that with people?
Well, we have to first figure out, what is your goal? What do you really want to do? What was your life look like in the better world of sexual health 6 months from now? What are you trying to do? And so if you start maybe with the big goal, and then we can narrow it down as to how we're going to get there. And so because it can be really intimidating, we just have to start where you're ready to start and what seems doable today. Little actions that might get you to where you want to go in 6 months. And maybe it is just putting a vibrator in your hand for the very first time. It's something that's not intimidating. And then just learning how to play with it, learning how to practice it, because it's a learned skill. Orgasm is a learned skill. And so it takes practice, it takes patience, it takes time. And so if you're willing to invest in all of those things, we can work together.
I think that's so important. I think orgasm definitely is a learned skill. And I think no one teaches women how. A lot of women who have sex with men learn about pleasure from their first boyfriends who don't know their anatomy either and don't really know. And so I think for a lot of women, it's embarrassing, this idea of self-exploration. I think it's important to normalize it, because once you know yourself and what gives you pleasure, that's when you can communicate to a partner how they can help you achieve pleasure. I also love just bringing the conversation back to pleasure and just in general, because, so often patients say to me, well, I have low libido. I'm like, well, is the sex pleasurable for you? And if it's not, then it's really hard to want to do it. That's what makes people want to have sex, is it should be pleasurable. And there's just less of an emphasis on women's pleasure a lot of times in our culture. So I think these vibrators are such great tools to help women get more pleasure.
Totally agree with you. It is something that you have to be willing to work at. And if you are, it can be helpful in that sexual realm for you. If you're not, then maybe you're not ready for it, or maybe it's not for you. But it is something that it's important, especially if you're in a relationship long term. You need to work on these things. And that's just one of the areas of health to keep up with. It's like going to the gym, or it's like your fitness, it's like your nutrition. You have to keep up in that area as well.
You mentioned helping people to orgasm. I'm really curious because this is we're doing this in this orgasm month theme that we're doing. What is your approach to this when people come to us and they say, I never had an orgasm, I am having trouble now? Where can we utilize you and these tools to help people?
Good question. A lot of it is just being open to willing to try. I'll give you examples of people who I'm seeing who it might be helpful for in that realm that maybe you're too timid to enter. So I'll take referrals from sex therapists who've been working with their patients, or pelvic floor therapists who they're kind of done with. They don't know what to do next, and they maybe want to try some vibration therapy. And that's a good place to start. I'm seeing women who your body is changing in your 40s and 50s, and something that used to work maybe just isn't working anymore. And so you need some more tools in the toolkit, or you want to sit down with a girlfriend and talk about what exists just kind of for the fun of it because your body's changing. I'm seeing women who, with their partner, who this was really sweet, of a couple who they kind of lost the magic and they're in their 50s. They love each other. They want to stay married, but they just want to spice things up. And so they were a really sweet couple, just to try something fun and do something different. Then there's this population of young ladies who just had a baby. You're postpartum. Things just aren't the same. I want my body back. And so there's that population too that could be helpful. I'm sure you see these patients every day in your practice. You know exactly who I'm talking about and referring to. There's just a wide gamut as to who could be helpful for you. You just have to be open to it and willing to try. And if you're willing to try, and maybe there's some different tools out there for you that maybe you haven't tried, just be open to trying it. That's all I would say.
Patients of mine that kind of open this door and get that comfortability and realize that these things are available, and it's the best to see them just kind of really open up things in their life they haven't opened up before, and then how that impacts themselves. And, if they have a partner, how their relationship, like this is important for them to do. And sexual health is health. And so if this is something that can help them with that, it's quite empowering, I think.
I think it's great when they explore alone or with their partners how to achieve pleasure. But I also think one of the things I think about for vibrators is really helpful is that for a lot of my patients, especially as they go through their menopause transition and their hormones are different, it takes them longer. And that's, I think, a really big reason for why they don't want to have sex. They're like, try to change that mindset from like the busy day and all the things to getting in bed and thinking about having sex and then thinking about how, oh, yeah, but it's going to take me like 20 minutes to even have an orgasm. And so I think these are such great tools for that because they really can help bring pleasure more quickly or multiple orgasms just so that you get more of a reward, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the goal with the women that you're talking about, right? We need blood flow. And so vibrators are just a tool to get the blood flowing. And if maybe you are going through menopause or perimenopause and some tool that used to work just doesn't do the job anymore, we need blood flow to have sensation. The more sensation you have, the better it's going to feel, right? If you just look at it as it's just something that's going to help me in this area of my life and not make it a bigger deal than it is, I think it's more widely acceptable than ever right now in our culture. And for women to just go, okay, I'm not the only one with one of these. It's okay. And most times your partner will be willing to accept that as your pleasure. And if it's going to bring you pleasure to just bring that in with you, then it should be something that you do and talk about and make it comfortable and make it normal and not have any shame behind it.
How do you approach that? There's some people where the partner is not willing. Some people, they are. How do you approach, like, say, somebody that they're not willing?
It's really important, right? Communication around sex, it can be hard. And it's one of those skills that we were not taught how to talk about sex, especially as adults, and it can be really uncomfortable for people. And so I think you have to, one, find a time that works. Don't pick those intimate moments. So pick the right time to talk about it and have a conversation. And then two, frame it in a positive light. Frame it in a way that it's collaborative. You're doing this together. It's not about you. You're not shaming or criticizing your partner, but making them feel like it's about you together. It's experience together. You want to keep it so that you can communicate in a way that he responds well or she responds well. And so you're not criticizing, you're not judging, you're taking away those things and just kind of creating a safer space to have that conversation. It's vulnerable. You feel really vulnerable talking about these things. And if it's uncomfortable to you, lay it out on the table. Say, I'm really uncomfortable talking about this, but let's have a conversation around this. And if we can leave our egos at the door and leave the criticism at the door and just how do we get better at this? That is kind of how to do it and frame it so that it's together. You're not talking just about you. You're trying to not replace your partner. You're trying to enhance them. Let's face it, most partners want you to have pleasure too. So if you can frame it in that way, and if you really can't get around all that and they're not open to it, then bringing in an educator, bringing in a sex therapist to help you have those conversations around all the reasons why, I would refer you out to those people if this is just too difficult to have.
Well, tell us about the different kinds of vibrators. I tell patients about vibrators and how they can help, but I definitely don't get into the nitty gritty of like what to choose. How can they tell what they're looking for? I'm super interested to hear kind of how you explain that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And let's start, I think, from one that you guys are both familiar with and you probably even refer out your patients to, and that is the Kiwi. You are very familiar with this one. I know you are. And Meredith, I've seen it in your office, so I know you talk to patients about it.
Yeah.
Because clinicians built it, right? And then clinicians such as yourselves recommend it. It's almost like the patient has permission to use it. So there's almost like a safer space created of like, somebody told me to use this or try this. And so they might be more easy to pick it up and not as such as intimidating tool. And so this one, there's different ends. There's two different motors to it. You can use it anywhere you want, really. But if you can loosen some of the muscles on your hips, your lower abdomen, your inner thighs, you can use it as a massager, right? And then you can use it as a dilator as well, so it can sit on your clitoris and go inside at the same time. But I'd be curious to hear from you guys too about what patients that you hear from that you probably have many years of referring this. What do your patients say about this one?
Tools like the Kiwi and even some of our like dilators that have vibration and things like that. I mean, some of them you can use your HSA account for. So it seems more medical than say going on like a website and like looking at, whatever website or store, not to medicalize it, but it kind of makes it more of a clinical tool, if you will. That's something that's a good thing with these. But like in the Kiwi, like if you can't see us and what Liz is holding, it's a device that The entire device itself vibrates, but it's like a handheld option. It's almost like a lock kind of, but it has a little part that sticks out of the bottom of it that you can use to, with penetration. And then right next to that, where it sticks out, you can almost like, if you imagine penetrating with it and then laying it against the clitoris. And so that's kind of the concept there. But since the entire thing does vibrate, you could totally, I love how you say that, like use it on your hips or your back, or we jokingly say all the time that this is all connected, and it is. And there's so many people who have pain or cancer, whatever it is that's affecting your sexual function, and utilizing these tools to just kind of relax everything connected to this part of your body where you are trying to have penetration and pleasure. I mean, that's how I would use a kiwi. Some people use it as a dilator. And like we've said before with dilators, like dilators can be used to dilate, but yet we also use it as a way to desensitize the nerves and the muscles that were down in the pelvic floor to tell the brain, like, this is going to be okay.
Exactly. If we can get through this one, it's a good place to start if you are kind of timid or have no experience in this world. It's an okay place to start, right, as far as clitoral vibes. And so the next one I'll show you is kind of maybe a step up from there. And if you know anything about bullet vibrators, this is almost a step up from a bullet vibrator. It's from WeVibe. I like the company WeVibe. It's called the Touch X. And so it is a vibrator that on the inside kind of has this little soft piece, can rest on the clitoris. It has this point that some people might like to use too, but it has this kind of rounded shape too. So use as you feel pleasure, right? Use whatever you want. As you turn it on, of course, you have different modes that vibrate. There's like 7 different patterns on here that you can search through until you find one that you like. And then with that, you have the increase and decrease as far as intensities. And so you get a little bit of variety with this without feeling super intimidated that there's so many buttons. I don't know what to use. I don't know how to use it. It's small enough. Oh, and you'll love this too. There's a travel lock on it, so you can travel with it without the worry of it going off in your suitcase.
I love that. That's amazing.
Most WeVibe products have that. I know. Isn't that great? So
I love it.
It's not intimidating. It's small enough. It's good for solo play. You can use it with a partner for sex during sex too. And so it works kind of for solo and for partner. It's small. I like it.
What you're holding is these bullet vibes are skinnier. And I think the skinnier tools like this can be good for partnered sex because it can be held between 2 people. The bullets are kind of inconspicuous, I feel, for some people too. It's easily held in the hand and typically kind of smaller and skinnier. So I think that's one bonus with those as well. So, and then one quick thing, what do you tell people? Is there ever any too much vibration, or are you going to break anything?
You will not break anything. We will get to the highest vibration at the very last. I mean, adjust it as needed. I mean, it goes up to like 8 intensities. So if you like something really buzzy and really rumbly, they adjust to those senses too. So they've come a long way in the vibration and motors and these things too, I think.
And you will not hurt anything. Like you can't do too much. It's totally, totally fine.
It's totally to your comfort level. Yeah, adjust to your comfort level. Just play around with it. They're supposed to be fun, right? So have some fun with it. You're trying to bring blood flow, right, to all the pelvic area, and that's all those things are doing. So play around with it, have some fun.
Yeah, no permanent damage.
The next one here is, you might recognize this one back in the early, mid-2000s, around 2014, something called the Womanizer came out, if you're familiar with this one. This is a suction tool, and this is like the original, so it's bigger than it should be than the current ones. So the original one, it's like an air pulse technology. It's suctioning. Some people think it feels like licking. Some people it feels like massaging, but it is a pulsing technology. And so the latest one that you would see now and today this is the Melt from WeVibe 2. And so it's smaller. It's much more compact. You can use it in between, again, with a partner. You can use it for solo. But with this one, it's kind of cool because once you turn it on, you don't even feel the air pulsing until it hits your skin. Whereas the other one, once you turn it on, it has a louder motor. So this one, it's very quiet. So if you have kids in the house or you live with other people, you don't really have to worry about that one. And again, you can adjust the settings as needed, and it has different vibration modes. You can adjust the intensities. They all have adjustable intensities. Also, the travel lock, if it's important to you, you will have the travel lock on this one as well. It feels slightly different than a regular vibrator. So the air pulse is slightly different. So if you're somebody who maybe you don't really like vibrators, try this one instead, because it does feel different than a regular vibe. Again, just different technology, different feel, and everybody's different. Everybody's different.
We're creating a shopping list now.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we should have done this episode before Christmas so that people could put it on their Christmas lists.
Yes. First ones you've shown are great stocking stuffers, I'm just going to say.
They're compact, right? They're compact.
They
Definitely
totally
do that.
are. In travel lock, so they won't be bouncing around in Santa's sleigh.
Exactly. Let's move on to probably the bigger vibrators as you recognize rabbit vibrators when they are around. Every company's got their own build of rabbit vibrators. This one's from WeVibe too. I stick with one company just because it's simple and I trust them and I like them. Everybody's got their own. This one happens to have, the internal arm, it's got the external arm, and this one's just a little bit more bendy than some of the other ones. It moves around with you. So now this one has different buttons. You can turn on both of the different arms. You can do 2 different speeds. You can do 2 different intensities. You can play around and adjust it. This one has a couple more buttons. So if it's intimidating to you, maybe it's not your first toy or tool, but maybe it is something that maybe you try later on if you're not quite comfortable with it yet, because there are a couple buttons to it. But again, you don't have to use all the buttons. Use what you're comfortable with. And so that's kind of the fun of this one too, is just learning about what do you like? Play around. And that's important to just figure out. Have one of everything in your pleasure chest, I say.
And so the rabbit has basically 2 as like a handle and then 2 arms, I guess, if you want to call it that, just if you can't see what we're holding up here. So can you tell kind of like where you can utilize that and how to use that one?
Yes, sure. So the internal arm can go internal, go into the vagina as far as you want. And then the external arm just rests on your clitoris or around your clitoris, wherever is comfortable for you, wherever you like it. And you can do solo play. You can use this with a partner, whatever you're comfortable doing. And so you get the internal stimulation, you get the external stimulation, a dual stimulation, of course. And so that's kind of the advantage with this one is the external and internal, because let's face it, most women, as you guys have mentioned many times before, you need some type of external stimulation during sex in order for it to be pleasurable. And so this one does do both for you, which is also like the other vibrators. If you need something during sex, they're small enough and compact to use on your clitoris as well.
I want to bring up a point that you mentioned. You used the word pleasure chest, which I loved. I love the idea of having, like a bunch of things that give you pleasure and you keep in one place. But I also love the idea of being able to lock that so that maybe small children that may live in your house do not find it and play it with like its microphone. I'm just saying, I mean, I don't have personal experience with that. I'm just saying that some people could.
That's never happened.
Never happened.
That
Never happened.
having a lock on your pleasure chest is a good idea.
Yeah. They also will say it's a massager, like they'll even, massager. So yeah, I agree.
Which is a great lead in to the next one, because I know you guys have to have heard of, we're going to talk about sex tools. We have to talk about the Hitachi magic wand. And so, I mean, you can probably hear this thing vibrating through the microphone. It is so loud and intense. I would not recommend people start with this one. This one can be a lot. So work your way up to this one, but it's simple enough. It's just got a couple different intensities on it, because that's really all it needs. Let's face it. This thing can be really intense for people. But again, maybe you are someone who you don't even like vibration because you think that doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything. Try this one before you say, I don't like vibration.
Yes.
It's an intense, but it's been around for 50 years. So
tried and true. It is also a very large tool, but obviously for external use. So there is that. It is kind of heavy and cumbersome, I would say, but you are correct. It packs a punch.
If you're old like I am, it's what Samantha loved in Sex and the City. And it's what she was using to like in the baby's little seat to like keep the baby happy. It was, I think, Miranda's baby when she was babysitting once, and then it died. And she was like, it was so horrible. And she had to go buy a new one.
That's pre-Amazon days. Now you just get on Amazon.
Right?
Prime delivery, that bad boy, you got it.
Yes. So many companies make a version of this. It's their wand version. And so they do exist all over the place. It's just not with this company, but so many of them have taken that idea and ran with it too, because it's powerful if you need the power. So that's the Hitachi.
Yes, it is.
Kind of the end all be all. Okay, so let's talk about maybe some things with partners that might be beneficial with a partner. I don't know if you have seen these before. It's called the O-Nut. And maybe you even have recommended, because it's made from the same company that the Kiwi is for. And so it might be a clinician recommended again. And so it's really just a depth buffer, if you will, that it goes on the penis and it stops him from entering too far. And it's how deep is penetration. If that's painful for you, then these things might be a good idea to try. So it kind of limits how far your partner can go in and the penetration if that's the piece that is painful for you. So it's 4 little rings. They are very squishy. They're very bendable. And it's not quite like a penis ring. They're much more bendy and much more squishy, but similar, I guess. Similar. Start with 3. You can add the 4th one if you need to, but that's kind of helpful for pain for some patients as well, if that's what's bothering you.
And if anybody says that that's not going to fit around them, they're lying. Those things are really stretchy.
They stretch.
It kind of feels like skin. It's a really nice product. And they also do have a vibrating ring component if needed to go with it.
I recommend those a lot for patients who have pain.
Yep, I bet. Let's go to a couple couples, and then that will be it. One thing I do want to mention that I don't have with me is a vibrator, just a G-spot vibrator, where it just kind of looks like the wand, and it doesn't usually have any external clitoral vibe on it. But that's just a little curved at the end. Some people do like that if they like to have something on their G-spot. Helpful to have. I don't have one of those with me. What I do have is this next ring. It is a penis ring. It is from WeVibe. It's called the Pivot. Now, this one has one button. If you're somebody who's just so confused with all the buttons, this is a good one for you because you can use it as an external vibration on the clitoris or wherever you would prefer to use it. And then maybe you can work up your partner into using it as a penis ring as well. And then you also get the vibration from that during sex too. So it's really kind of a double. If you're not quite sure what to step into and you want something small just for yourself to use, either solo or with a partner, this would be a good one to try too. And then work your way up to it if your partner's willing to try.
Going back to the big wand, I don't know about you, but like I reach a certain point in my life and I have like carpal tunnel and all this stuff like those can sometimes like it's better to have a smaller one where it's not like, like exacerbating my carpal tunnel.
You don't want to be working out while you're trying to use your vibrator. Like, oh, it's heavy.
That's so funny. You guys are so funny. It's so true, though. I mean, this plugs into the wall. There's something, this is heavy, right?
Yes.
There's work involved in this one. So
Or maybe you need a workout.
maybe that too. That's just fine. So one more I want to talk about, I don't have on me. It is a clip-on vibe. And so it's in the shape of a C like this. This one you can insert. It sits on your G-spot, and then the top sits on the top to vibrate on your clitoris. And then you can use it with penetration. And so as you wear it, then your partner can enter and also enjoy the vibe part of it for him. And so it's just a wearable clip-on. It vibrates. And that one's really popular on WeVibe, and it's all across different websites as well in their brands. But it's a popular wearable for couples to try.
Awesome.
Why not end with something maybe that would be super fun on date night? It's just a panty vibe. End with the panty vibe, something that is so different and outside your comfort zone. Wear it out on a date night. Just give it a try and see what happens. They're small. They're compact. You can find them anywhere as well. But it's just something fun. It's just something different if you're really looking for that extra something different.
Some of these vibes will have like apps. If you're super techie and you're down with like the apps, like go for it. But nobody gets to see before we start taping. But I can barely even get my my microphone to work or my Google Docs. I don't even know how to work Google Docs. So like, I mean, an app for that is for me is like, I mean, just keep it simple. Like, don't piss off my carpal tunnel, and please just don't make my brain work too hard.
You're so right. And I forgot to point that out on some of these too, because these two are two that have apps, of course. They all have the apps. I mean, maybe you want to control it from the next room or from the next state over. Like if you want to get really fun and out of the comfort zone, yeah, apps are there for sure.
I talk to patients about this a lot. The sonic wave ones, like the Lilo Sona. Do you know anything about those? I've heard that they release kind of a more sonic wave that can go deeper, especially for our patients who have clitoral phimosis or things from their lichen sclerosis. Do you know anything about those?
Just the very little of what you're mentioning. I don't have experience with those or have suggested those to people or have known people that have used them, but I know what you're talking about. And as far as I know, I've read the reviews on them. People like them. They work. But beyond that, no, I don't have anything else beyond that.
If you go online, like if you go to that Lilo Sona website, I mean, some of these are $200, $300, but then you can go to Amazon and find one for $30. Like, is it more expensive better? Like, how do you know what to buy?
So when you're looking for something, look for body safe materials, BPA free, phthalate free. Usually it's medical grade silicone that works in a lot of these items. You're right. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on Target. But remember, if it's Amazon, you can return things on Amazon. And so there's a piece of that that might not sit well with some people and they don't like that idea of where has this been maybe. And I don't want to think about that, right? But because you should be okay to buy off of there.
Just from my experience I bought my husband a robe and I wanted to return it to Amazon and they refunded me and then let me keep the robe because it was an intimate item. And the robe feels way less intimate than what we're talking about. So I'm really hopeful that it's like along those lines where they refund you, but you get to keep it because no one wants that returned. I'm just saying.
I should almost just try it for the sake of the experiment now. Now you make me want to go try that.
Yeah. Report back.
But yeah, there's things you can stay away from. But, the thing is that they've come a long way with sex toys and tools. And so you can really find them anywhere. I mean, I was in Walmart the other day, and I do say good brands in Walmart. They're about the same price as you would buy them online. So cheaper isn't necessarily better. You can buy them for $30, $40 in Walmart and Target, and it's a good brand. They've really come a long way from just the plastic toys, so know what you're getting, though.
They've definitely come a long way, and they're rechargeable, and that's nice. No cords. How do you recommend care for your vibes?
Yeah, so of course, once you get it, just wash it before you use it, and then wash it every time after you use it. You can use either just a mild soap with it. You can use a clean toy cleaner. Just spray it on, let it sit, and then come back and wash it off and store it. Most of them have a little pouch, and you can store it in there after it's dry, and store it in there and put it in your pleasure chest and lock it up. Most of them have a little pouch like this that you can just toss it into, and it keeps it clean. And then what you do with all the cords is up to you, because that can be another mess. But
I'm always missing a cord for charging something.
I have cords everywhere, but I can never find them when I need them.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it in the pouch, in the pleasure chest. What about lube? What do you tell people when it comes to lube and toys?
definitely, if you're inserting something, grab a lube. If you're doing these nuts, something like that, use a lube. A lot of people like the Uber lube. I know you guys have talked about that too, and you like that one too. There's some good water-based lubes out there. There's a few companies. One is Intimate Earth. They have a really good line of a lot of clean ones, and then some plant-based. Another one is Wicked Sensual Care. And they actually made a line in thoughts with menopausal and perimenopausal women. So it's a little bit more hydrating and clean. It's called Simply Timeless. And so that's another option. And again, go look at all of these and make sure that these ingredients line with what you're willing to use. But there are some clean lines that are out there. Sliquid is another one, water-based. So it's really up to each individual what you prefer, I guess.
And then are you recommending to not use silicone lube with silicone toys? What is your hot take?
Everybody says don't use it, right? Can you use it? Yes, you certainly can. Most people, they don't find that it degrades the toy, and they're fine with it. So I don't recommend against it. Nothing's happening to your toy, right? Or your tool.
Yeah.
If it was degrading in front of you, you wouldn't use it. So
Yeah, exactly. And if it does, then you can go buy a new one. Again, you can buy it for $40.
They talk about it like it's going to corrode right in front of you. Don't let these things touch.
exactly.
Yeah, no, it's not going to do that.
And then what do we think about, as a group, about people who are scared to try their vibrator because they think that they will not be able to orgasm without a vibrator? Will this make them dependent, or will this numb their nerve endings to make it harder without a vibrator to achieve orgasm? What do we say about that?
I say, if you need something to help you, grab a tool. And why not? Talk to your partner about it. Again, have those hard conversations. If this is something that's going to help you in this area, and it's not just about you, it's making your connection deeper. It's making that intimacy better for the both of you and that confidence between you. When you can create that intimacy and you can create that connection, it betters your relationship in the end. And if this is just a small tool that's going to do that, then why not? I mean, really think about the outcome of what are you afraid of? What are you afraid it's going to do? If this is enhancing your pleasure, go for it. Why not?
Agreed. I don't think that these are going to make it so you can't achieve orgasm without them. They're a tool, and it can improve pleasure or help you achieve multiple orgasms, achieve orgasm quicker, bring more blood flow, which I think is super important, especially for when we're postmenopausal and we have less blood flow down there. But agreed, that's just a tool. It doesn't mean you are going to become dependent on it.
Correct. It's a tool that is enhancing your partner. You do not want to replace them. You do not want them to feel less than. It's just something that maybe this makes area of your life much better and more pleasurable. And together, you're creating those intimate moments and you're both getting something out of it, So yeah, why not?
We've talked about where people can get them. I mean, if they're a first-time buyer of a vibrator, is it better to go to a sex toy shop and touch them and get an idea? Or where do you recommend someone start? Like someone's listening to this and they're like, I think I want to buy a vibrator. What should they do?
I think it really depends on where you're at too. If you are somebody who you're comfortable walking into a store, go for that. Then you get to see things, you get to touch things, you can talk to a knowledgeable person in the store. If that's your comfort zone, go for it. There's a lot of people that are just not comfortable doing that, and they're intimidated by those stores. And it can be overwhelming walking in there. I mean, there's so many colors and lights and so many different things that you don't even know what they are. So if it's such an intimidating situation, try online. There's all different kinds of websites, whether it's WeVibe or whether it's Mystery Vibe or Amazon or Target, or there's one called HerePleasureShop.com. Those are all clean and good toys as well. And so if you want to surf around, go for that. If you're comfortable doing that. If you're not even comfortable doing that, find somebody that will do that with you, and I'm in that space of, I help a lot of those people do that because they're not comfortable doing those things. And it's intimidating. It's one of those situations where it's overwhelming and you don't quite know which way to look and way to turn. And so if somebody can help guide you through that, I would love to do that.
And I love that you're doing it because, after I've met you, I've had instances with patients where I can tell they are kind of apprehensive and nervous about this, this topic. And I'm like, hey, guess what? There's somebody who can actually just come to you and sit down with you, or you and your partner, whatever your comfortability is, like just to really kind of introduce you to these things at your own pace. Because those stores and even online can be pretty intimidating for some of this stuff of like, oh my gosh, because some of them look real and anatomic, and like that can be off-putting to some people. But like the ones that you're holding up here today, they have colors and things like that, but they do not in any way look like anatomic. We try to call them tools, and that's kind of what they are. So I think it's a great thing what you're doing.
And then, Liz, do you see clients virtually so that someone who doesn't live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area could do a consult with you over Zoom to talk about this kind of stuff?
I do that as well. It's super easy. We can do it in person, we can do it over Zoom, and we can have kind of the similar conversations that we're having here of, I can show you some things and hold some things up. I can recommend different websites. We can go through websites together, and that's easy too. But just bouncing off ideas of maybe you've heard of something or you're curious about a product. We can talk about all those types of things too. And I can direct you where to go to buy them or try them and just walk you through and guide you how to use them.
Awesome.
I love it. Well, we'll have to put your website and everything in our show notes so people can find you if they're looking for you. Because I think that's a really valuable service that you're providing, because I do think this is intimidating and it's hard to kind of take these first steps, and having someone kind of there to guide people, I think is really wonderful.
We appreciate what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you, ladies. I so appreciate that. I appreciate what you guys are doing too. I love that you're in this women's health field, just helping us all along and guiding us all the way too, because you guys are super informative. You're so entertaining. And I just love listening to you guys.
We have fun.
I can tell.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Liz. And we will definitely leave your information in the show notes. And if you want to share, just stick your information here real quick.
So you can visit my website at vitality-within.com. All of my contact information is on there, including my email and including my phone number, which is just elizabeth@vitality-within.com. Contact me, reach out. I'll do free consults with you to see if we're a good fit, and then we'll go from there.
Love it. All right. And if you like this content, to let us know. We're happy to talk about other things. If you want to talk about other things and share it with your friends, I think this is a good one to share with friends, because this is important and it's fun, and it should be fun.
This is a good one to play at book club, I'm just saying.
My favorite things party.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Labia Logic.
We get it. Sharing a podcast like this might feel a little taboo, but we're here to break down those barriers. Labia Logic's all about empowerment, not embarrassment.
If you found this episode helpful, we hope you share it with others who could use a little labia logic in their lives. Can't we all? You can find us on all major podcast platforms and connect with us on Instagram at labia_logic.
From our lips to yours,
Viva la vulva!